It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
The Chiefs are back in the Super Bowl, baby.
I'm shocked, but I'm happy.
I'm not shocked. We'll talk all about the Kansas City Chiefs, and we'll have to talk about those crybaby Bengal fans out there that don't know what to do this week. Tell you what, they are the biggest, most cryingest, most whiniest group of fans I've seen, and we're going to talk to them a little bit. But there's some wild local stories we're going to update you. We'll kind of update you on the local shooting. Happened a couple weeks ago in Osage Beach. Plus, the CEO of Osage Nation, he is spending some money that he probably shouldn't be.
Yeah, doesn't have a job anymore, right?
Yeah, so the former CEO, we'll tell you about that. Plus, our partner, Central Ozarks Medical Center, take home a couple big-time recent awards. And Chris, guess what else we're going to talk about?
What?
There's a study that shows that marijuana can lessen bruising and improve healing on the brain after a concussion or a traumatic brain injury. So we'll talk about that. And again, Chiefs are going back to the Super Bowl. How exactly did they get there with their quarterback on just one leg? That and a whole lot more on this week's Cup of Coffee.
Hey everyone, Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. We're starting our President's Day sale. That means furniture for every room of the house is on sale. Not only are we offering discounts on the furniture, but you can still get 0% interest financing. We deliver the entire lake area, so come see us at Slumberland Furniture, where we're bringing happy home.
All right, so everybody has been asking, what is the latest with the fatal shooting that took place in Osage Beach on January 21st? And, we saw Lake Expo put out that article, but really, there seems to be more questions than answers. The report read that police have confirmed and made public the identities of the two men who were shot. Of course, Ammon, 20 years old, Micah Ammon of Columbia. He was pronounced deceased at Lake Regional Hospital that Friday, and then Devin Atkinson, 19. He had 2 gunshot wounds to the body, and he was hospitalized. But at this point, Osage Beach Police Department Lieutenant Michael O'Day, he told Lake Expo, Chris, that while there's not currently a manhunt, police don't even have a suspect yet. O'Day said, currently we don't have many people. We don't know how many people were involved, or even if there's a suspect out there. We've gotten several different reports on scene and away from the scene, but nothing factual. So it's been a few days as of Tuesday since that report came out. And so I talked with Lieutenant Michael O'Day with Osage Beach, and he said, well, still really not a lot of update. We don't want to pass out wrong information or put out leads, but he did confirm there are a couple leads, and they're going to continue to interview. We believe as of Tuesday morning at 10 a.m., some very important interviews to take place, including with Atkinson, who was shot, as it said, twice to the body and was hospitalized for whatever reason, had not really been able to get a great interview with him up to that point Tuesday morning. And so we anticipate Tuesday that interview will take place, and we're really anticipating some updates because really at this point, Chris, as the article said, as Lieutenant O'Day said, more questions than there are answers.
Yeah, and in this situation, he was shot twice, this Devin Atkinson, 19 years old, in the hospital. So he's probably been fighting for his life, I'm guessing. And, under sedation and all that stuff, probably unable to speak. Sounds like he has recovered enough that maybe he can start talking and they can start interviewing and try to find out what happened there. It's so weird when you have a shooting like that. Usually it's pretty obvious what happened. Somebody started it. These are the good guys. These are the bad guys. In this case, they don't seem to know.
So. Don't know. Are we talking about the culprit? Are we talking about the victim? I mean, all of those things still uncertain. And so, you got to be careful because when you're talking about individuals who are shot and recovering, we could be talking about the victim here.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to be insensitive. You don't want to project anything that, isn't fact. And so we kind of play the waiting game. I can confirm that we are in communication with Osage Beach Lieutenant Michael O'Day. And he
know everybody. It's amazing how many people you know.
It's actually amazing how easy it is to get information if you're diligent and you look for it. Just pick up the phone and email. These people are great at getting factual information because they don't want to get the wrong information out there. And historically, for me, you read an article, and I'll just kind of repeat the article without confirming or denying, and that is what I call bad journalism. And we're moving forward trying to be better journalists. And so I'm impressed with how cooperative these local entities and municipalities are in sharing information. And one I want to say real quick, there's a new, I think he's an economic planner, developer for the city of Osage Beach, Mitchell Moon, a young guy, 24 years old. He's from Tipton, Missouri, and he's not even been there a full year. And that's another one. We talk about Harrison Fry and Lake Ozark, the city administrator. Well, this Mitchell Moon, who is in the economic planning department and with the city of Osage Beach, is sharp. I spent some time talking to him, and the city of Osage Beach has some huge events coming. Do you remember the food truck event that happened in Lori the last couple of years?
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to become a 2 times a year event, and it's moving to the city of Osage Beach.
Wow.
There'll be one in April and then one in September. And then in October this year in Osage Beach, it's the first annual sanctioned barbecue challenge cook-off that will be all over. We'll tell you all about. But so Osage Beach got some really cool events coming, and talking with Mitchell Moon, they've got some great things working in the city of Osage Beach.
And the mayor, Michael Harmison, seems to be doing a great job since he took over, was elected. There's just a whole lot of wheels turning all over, really. I mean, Lake Ozark seems to have turned the corner, really coming around, doing some really good things. Osage Beach, as you mentioned, and really thinking some stuff. It's pretty cool.
It is, and we'd be remiss if we were talking about Osage Beach and you talk about their city administrator, Gina Woods, who is so good at what she does and by the book. And for anybody around that wants to learn about city administration or local government, I mean, she's a walking handbook. She could tell you just about anything. And so, yeah, we're in good hands in both of those, not Camdenton, Osage Beach and Lake Ozark. But I wanted to give a shout out to Mitchell Moon because he's newer, and I just got to talk to him, and I was like, wow, we got some great young people in local government.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really makes a big difference.
Yeah, all right, so we updated you there. This was an interesting thing because we're still kind of waiting for an update on the Osage Nation, the casino project that's supposed to come to the lake. And right now we're really in a waiting phase as far as that's concerned. But Osage Nation was in the headlines over the last week or so. Their CEO, Byron Bighorse, former CEO, has resigned, as it looks like an investigation has proven. He has spent some Osage casino funds for his own use, let's just say.
Yeah, in an open letter to the Osage Nation Congress, Osage Congressman Eli Potts called out what he called repugnant uses of Osage casino funds by Bighorse. Potts posted a 1,556-page report on the website. I mean, that's bigger than most books, right? So he pastes this report itemizing the use of funds. He highlighted just 10 of what he thinks he called misuses of the money in this letter, which included a private trip, membership to the Patriot Golf Club, and other things. And that was enough. Whatever was in this report, misuse of funds, was enough for the Osage Nation to relieve Byron Bighorse of his CEO job. He basically resigned, and so now they have a new CEO, Kimberly Pearson, a longstanding member of the Osage Nation, and she's been an integral leader in the strategic growth of the casinos and everything. So this Kimberly Pearson now takes over as the CEO, and she specifically talked about Lake of the Ozarks and what they want to do here. She says, as CEO, I do not want to take lightly our responsibility to the tribe and the communities in which we operate. I look forward to continued momentum in the Lake of the Ozarks and investing in its economic growth. So they by no means are going away from Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah, and that's what people, they see that, I think, Osage Nation, that casino project might be in trouble. Not really. I mean, and honestly, this doesn't really affect anything at this particular casino project that is being worked on or being planned out because they have numerous casino projects and developments, and this is their CEO who travels throughout the country. And so over the course of many years, yes, a lot of funds he spent he probably shouldn't have, but it doesn't affect this project and really means little. The reason I was kind of smiling is because I was looking through some of the expenses, and he's got pretty good taste. You know where we're going when we get done? We're going to New Spring Wellness Center for a
Right.
drip treatment. I noticed in Vegas at the Wynn Hotel for a NutriDrip IV, and I can only believe that's a wellness drip. I will say, Byron, if you're watching, you need to go to New Spring Wellness Center where their drips aren't $649.
Yeah, a lot less than that, that's
But
for sure.
golfing, Mother's Day brunch, so he loves his mom. I also thought there was a fundraising, so he was, donating money to other causes. Lots of private planes and golf trips. So there's even parking ticket. And I was talking with one of my buddies who is a business guy, and he goes, "What's funny, Will, is it's different when you own your own business." He goes, "Because over the course of years, I probably wasted $100,000 on stupid business purchases I shouldn't have." He goes, "The difference is, when you own your own business, you really get taxed on that anyway at the end of the year. So when you're working, whether you're an elected official, working for the taxpayers, or as CEO or board member or actual employee of a corporation, doesn't exactly work that way when it comes to the grace period there, does it?"
Right, big difference there, absolutely. You're kind of spending somebody else's money, whereas if you're the business owner and you're spending your own money, you're spending your own money,
Right.
really. But in this case, Osage Nation, but you also look at it, and this is very normal in the business, area.
Not that it's right, but this kind of is right now hitting headlines like it's a big deal and could ruin, and it's not. This is so normal.
Yeah, pretty much every CEO of every company could be caught spending money that they shouldn't be spending. It might be exorbitant, might not be. And in this case, cost him his job.
Just don't audit the Lake TV CEO, because I guarantee you there's probably some purchases that you can't make sense of there. But that does happen, and so we wanted to say that project still is on pace. There's been no changes, no updates, and that also leads me to tell you guys I've been working, have not gotten any replies from their lobbyist company and their strategic lobby, which is their PR firm. Have not heard back from them since January 8th. And so they've kind of got hush-hush, and I would imagine not a lot you can say at this point.
No, but we have, Lake TV, we've reached out to the Osage Nation, and we have offered them the opportunity to come on with us on Lake TV and just kind of tell us what's going on.
Right.
Let us know what you're thinking, let us know what you want to do, what's your game plan, and maybe get to know some of the people. We had offered Byron Bighorse, before he left as CEO, the opportunity to come on the Community Spotlight Show, tell us who he is, where he comes from, all that stuff. Obviously, that will not happen, but we'll offer to the new CEO, Kimberly Pearson, we'll offer her the same opportunity.
Absolutely.
Come on the show, tell us who you are, where you come from, what's this all about. So hopefully we'll hear back from them, and we can let you know more about what's all going on with that.
Absolutely. All right, so as we move ahead, Central Ozarks Medical Center, the exclusive healthcare provider of Lake TV, they bring home some really great awards. Two of them recently. Wanted to congratulate their public relations manager, Constance Hoffman, on being named the Business Professional of the Year in the recent LO Profile, also nominated by the Lake West Chamber of Commerce, and that is a very nice accolade. And then LORDEC, Lake Ozark Regional Development of Economic Council, they recently handed out their annual awards, and we'll do another story in a couple weeks when we get that full list. But the large business partner of the year went to Central Ozarks Medical Center. There you see Kelly Miller, their CEO, and we've seen it over the last 2 or 3 years, right before COVID hit, during COVID, the response to COVID, and now in your schools, in your community, providing quality health care with or without insurance or ability to pay. Central Ozarks Medical Center, very rightfully and deserving of those 2 awards.
Absolutely. They have become such a huge, integral part of our community. They're one of those foundational businesses in our community that helps make things go, helps keep people healthy, and that wouldn't happen without the good people that they have. They've got some of the best people in our area on their staff.
Oh, yeah.
Like Constance, and like the CEO, just about everybody at the top of that organization is pretty amazing.
Including Brinley's doctor, Dr. Erin. We absolutely love her, and we are today going for Brinley's first dentist appointment
Ooh,
with Central
wow.
Ozarks Medical Center.
Good luck with that. We might need to get you some Advil or something.
Yeah, she'll be loving that. But Central Ozarks Medical Center, they have it all: behavioral health, dental, from birth all the way to senior citizen age. I mean, they do it all. And regardless, like I said, even if you can't pay or you don't have insurance, they have what we call community health workers that'll sit down with you for no charge, and they're going to walk you through the process. What applications can we fill out for you? What do you qualify for? And a lot of people don't know that. And so if that's you, if you or your family need quality health care, you got to schedule an appointment with one of the Central Ozarks Medical Center locations. They're all over Richland. They're in Eldon in the schools. They're in Osage Beach. They're in Camdenton. They're all over, and they're growing as well.
So Brinley's got her first dentist appointment today.
Uh-huh.
When are you going to have your next dentist appointment?
It's been like 8 or 9 years since I've seen a dentist. I mean, these babies are straight as a circle. What do I need a dentist for, you know? I should be good. It does remind me, I probably should schedule a dentist appointment. All right, so hey, I know you're going to love this one, but study reveals that cannabis protects the brain from concussion and trauma. Now, I'm going to ask you to put on your big girl pants here for a minute and think about it, because as marijuana does have that stigma of, okay, wacky, tobacco, token, having a good time. But the study reveals something the NFL should look at. So a recent study in the Journal of Cerebral Cortex showed possibilities that marijuana can help heal the brain after a concussion or other traumatic injury. In the journal, it was said that the experiments were done on mice, but that the marijuana lessened the bruising of the brain and helped with healing mechanisms after a traumatic injury. A Harvard professor, whatever that is, of psychiatry and marijuana advocate Lester Grinspoon recently wrote an open letter, Chris, to NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, saying the NFL should stop testing players for marijuana and should instead fund for research in marijuana's plant ability to protect the brain. In the open letter, he writes, already many doctors and researchers believe that marijuana has incredibly powerful neuroprotective properties, an understanding based on both laboratory and clinical data. Now, in response, Goodell recently mentioned that he'd consider permitting athletes to use marijuana if medical research did in fact show that it's an effective neuroprotective agent. And so these 20 medical benefits of marijuana are among the countless benefits this plant has. And the list goes on to say numerous, not just from helping your brain heal, but it kind of helps protect the brain. And what a lot of people don't realize is these football players, all of these collisions, your brain sits in liquid, right? And then your skull protects it. It just kind of is loose, splashing around in there. And so anytime you have a collision, especially a violent collision, the impact and the effect on your brain can be great. And so this is saying that marijuana can help protect and even speed up the process. And when you look at all the concussions around the NFL this year, I just thought that was interesting, and I really found it interesting that Goodell was open-minded and said if science and medicine shows this, he would be open-minded. Well, it looks like a lot of medical doctors are on board and say, hey, the science and research is there. So do you think the NFL would move towards allowing players to use medicinal marijuana?
Absolutely. I think they will. I mean, because that's where everything is going now. You know, I mean, even here in Missouri, where recreational marijuana has been approved, and it seems like a lot of the states are going there. So that story came from the Marijuana World News. So of course they're going to be, you know, pumping the positives or, you know, trying to make everything look good when it comes to marijuana. But I do think it's been proven over the years, medical marijuana is very beneficial in a lot of situations, a lot of different, you know, areas. And I have nothing wrong with that. I am still not liking recreational marijuana because to me it's just another excuse for people to be out on the roads either drunk or high or something like that, which I don't think is good, but it seems like that's where things are going. But the NFL, as a big business, they would be stupid to say, we're not going to try this, because that could come back to haunt them at some point. You know, if brain injuries in the NFL continues to be a major problem, they could be sued that they didn't do everything they could to try to help that. So I definitely think the NFL will keep going along those lines and be open to that.
I think the NFL's already feeling it. I saw, I think Andrew was the one that saw a figure somewhere that currently the NFL owes from litigation and different medical reasons from players and injuries, owes some kind of massive sum, over $1 billion, that is yet to be paid out.
Yeah.
Oh, to coaches, okay. And so, but as far as injuries, we are seeing a lot of concussions and a lot of the CTE. You saw the concussion movie with Will Smith. And now you're seeing so many players that are thinking along those lines, looking into that, and you do see litigation and things against the NFL. So that may help if this does, in fact, improve that and maybe lessen the CTE. So, all right, the big story.
And I think a lot of the NFL players are already using marijuana.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, whether it's legal or not, and I think they've really backed off on the testing for that too, which all might be a part of this. So.
Yeah, Marshawn Lynch. I mean, he used to do 2 shots of cognac and smoke before he hit the field in the locker room. I mean, so he was a different breed, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. They called him beast mode or something, right?
Beast mode. All right, so listen, the Kansas City Chiefs are going back to the Super Bowl for the 3rd time in 4 years. Uncle Chris, what are your thoughts?
I'm shocked. I'm totally shocked. I thought Cincinnati would beat the Chiefs by 10, maybe 14 points. I really did. I thought Cincinnati was the better team all the way around. So pleasantly shocked that the Chiefs were able to pull that baby out, as you mentioned, with a quarterback on one leg. Although he ran pretty good on that last run to pick up that last first down, that was pretty cool. And all the injuries they suffered that they came through, but they did get a lot of help from the referees, I'll say that.
I figured you would, just like everyone else. The Chiefs and Eagles, they're going to be competing for the Lombardi Trophy. It's going to be Super Bowl 57 in Glendale, Arizona on February 12th at
See,
State
this
Farm
is how old I am.
Stadium.
I remember watching Super Bowl 10, right? That's how old I am. Right, yeah. That was even before you were born, dude.
I was trying to think about where you were at during the Super Bowl I with the Packers and the Chiefs.
When was that? Like 68?
69.
69. So I was just a tiny kid then.
Oh,
so,
okay, very good. All right, so this is what's amazing. The Chiefs have now hosted their 5th consecutive conference championship.
That's cool.
Mahomes was absolutely insane. And I think it's time, I've said this before, but I think it's time that you give him some respect, Chris.
I give him respect.
Well, today we're going to do that. We're going to actually give him respect. But before we do that, I got to say something to Bengals fans, the Bengals team, the mainstream sports media, and hell, even the mayor of Cincinnati, and everyone right now that's crying about the officials.
What did the mayor say? I didn't hear what the mayor said.
Apparently it wasn't good because you heard what Travis Kelce came out and said.
Yeah.
Because I didn't hear anything about the mayor until
didn't
Kelce
either.
in the postgame called him a jabroni, which was great.
Jabroni.
But all I've seen are people crying. You said the refs helped him, penalties, repeated down, hometown cooking. So since everyone out there is, spitting facts, I figured I would do the same. I got a couple for you, okay? Fact number 1, Arrowhead, loudest stadium in the NFL.
Yep.
When in the history of the NFL does a blown whistle not end the play immediately, regardless of if anyone heard it or not? Has there ever been a time where a blown whistle doesn't end the play?
Blown whistle, that ends it.
Okay, so it looks like the rules were followed to a T there. You cannot punish the Chiefs because they have the loudest fan base, and no one heard it. That's not the Chiefs' fault. And for everyone saying they got a free down, they punted anyway, so shut up. It didn't do anything for them. Fact number 2, making Joe Burrow uncomfortable. 5 sacks and 2 interceptions. Hit a QBR of 56 and a quarterback rating of 70.2. The Chiefs' defense did what no other team's been able to do this year, and that is make Joe Burrow uncomfortable and slow down that offensive attack.
To me, that was the biggest surprise of the game, the way the defensive line was able to get to Joe Burrow. That was impressive and huge. I mean, I think they had 4 sacks in the first quarter. It was great.
5 total, 3 in the first quarter, 4 in the first half, right on, and you just didn't see Burrow face that kind of heat. You mentioned injuries. 3rd fact, the Chiefs were without McCole Hardman, Justin Watson, Juju Smith-Schuster, and then one of each of Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes' legs, and they still found a way. I want to talk about the 4th fact, the personal foul on Bengals defensive end, Joseph Osai, which ultimately put the Kansas City Chiefs in position for a successful game-winning 45-yard Harrison Butker field goal. Now, I've heard a lot of people saying, man, that's not a flag, and they feel sorry for him. Okay, sure. Maybe I can relate to feeling a little sorry for him, but it was 100% a penalty and avoidable. It's not only that Mahomes was heading out of bounds with the yardage he needed already gained, but he had a foot completely in the white. The reason that this happens, Chris, is something you see every single week in the NFL. The defensive player has to get contact on the quarterback, has to get credited with the hit. And dare I say it, has to let out that little bit of frustration as you're running hopelessly across the field with your season on the line and you watch a one-legged freak of nature somehow outrun you to the sideline, and you have to let out that bit of frustration.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate that this time that happened, it ended up being what sent the Kansas City Chiefs to the Super Bowl.
There's no doubt that was a penalty.
But a flag
Yeah.
nonetheless.
Yeah.
Fifth, Mahomes on one leg. He wasn't pressured too much. He was sacked 3 times, which normally would have only probably been 1 sack. 2 times he went down on his own to avoid a hard hit. So maybe you sack him once, but what was Cincinnati doing? Where were they bringing pressure on a banged-up Chiefs offense? Mahomes was half able to move, and they let him stay in the pocket and cherry pick all day long to the tune of completing 29 out of 49 passes, over 325 yards, 2 scores with no INTs, and yes, he did give up the fumble, but the Chiefs defense the Bengals defense had nothing to do with it. Just slipped right out of his hand.
Slipped out of his hand. I mean, when things are that cold, it's hard to hold on to that
so
ball.
you can't give the Bengals defense credit for that.
Yeah.
Where were they at when you have Mahomes on a bum leg?
Credit to the offensive line for the Chiefs. They really did a great job.
Correct. And sixth, I'll end with this, from Eli Apple to the mayor of Cincinnati to all those Bengals fans out there. You didn't lose because of the referees or the NFL and Roger Goodell. You lost because you went up against a better team in an impossible venue in front of a crazy fan base, and you had to face the best quarterback of this era, Patrick freaking Mahomes. So take your Burrowhead and take your conspiracy theories and all your crazy excuses along with your great big ego all the way home with you back to Cincinnati, because here's what makes me happy. After the way you mouthed my Buffalo Bills, no one is going to remember the Cincinnati Bengals this season because you didn't do it. Guess who they're going to remember? Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, and that is so sweet, if you ask me, Uncle
They
Chris.
still have to win the Super Bowl, though. If they don't win the Super Bowl, everybody's still going to be crying and sad, but they're there. They got a chance to win that Super Bowl.
And they are going to win the
Think
Super
so?
Bowl.
That you're gonna
31-23 Kansas City.
Wow.
Patrick Mahomes wins his second Super Bowl MVP.
I hope you're right.
Should be great. And it's right. I noticed how all fans, because I wanted to give that rant, because I love Mahomes and we live in Chiefs Nation, but Bengals fans were unbelievably mouthy and arrogant from the time the Bills game ended, really going into that game. They really felt like they were it. They had beat the Chiefs 3 times, so after beating the Bills, they're going to go beat them a 4th time. We're calling Arrowhead Stadium Burrowhead. I mean, that was stupid by them to give that extra motivation, because look at that fan base, and they did make an impact in that game.
Yeah, anybody that makes, who was that weird wheels off guy that was their mayor? He had a TV show. I forget. Oh, Jerry Springer. Anybody that makes Jerry Springer your mayor, I mean, that city is wheels off, man.
You must be wheels off.
Yeah.
All right, so we have to look at our pick'em. League pick'em.
Wow.
Boy, has it gotten close.
3 people within 1 point with 1 game to go.
Yeah, Kevin Hornick
Yep.
is in first place with 224 points. Andrew in second place with 223. Uncle Chris in third place with 222. I'm a ways down at 213. The kitchen's down there with Marvin and Ricky as well. But I got the Chiefs 31-23. My MVP is Patrick Mahomes. My point total is 54.
Okay. I'm still trying to figure it out. I still have a chance to win.
So he can't say because
I'm
the
only
rest
2
of the
points
staff
down.
will see it, and they're
Right.
going to pick what he picks.
Right.
So we can't do that.
No,
I don't care because I don't stand a chance. So you all can hear my pick. All right, if you want to know what's going on Lake TV, we've got a great edition of Happy Hour DJ Kyle Miller. Man, Kyle's having fun, isn't
He's
he?
so awesome, yeah. If you haven't seen Happy Hour with Kyle Miller yet, you got to do that. Every day at, 7 in the morning, 5 in the afternoon, and 11 at night. He's greatness. You got to watch that.
Also, Kathy Weeson with the Lake of the Ozarks FCA's on our community spotlight with Uncle Chris this week. They've got their big team drive home banquet coming up in March. Always a great event.
Yep.
If you haven't been, highly recommend looking into that. Also, did you see Mizzou had a pretty good week?
Yeah, had a great week. Knocked off number 12 Iowa State last
Didn't just
weekend.
knock them off, obliterated them, shooting almost 58%
Yeah.
from deep over the last 2 games. Some easy competition coming up with LSU, Mississippi State, and South Carolina before we get back to the tougher games. So an opportunity here for Dennis Gates and the Tigers to get tournament ready, perhaps. What do you think? They're going to make the tournament?
They're definitely in the tournament.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's show. Thanks for tuning in from Slumberland at the Lake. I'm Wild Will.
I'm Uncle Chris.